Welcome viewers, I'm Mamta. Today we'll be doing chapter 3 of class 11th, which is the basis of human behavior. Today we'll be talking about the concept of endocrine system. Now endocrine system basically deals with the functioning of the hormones in our body. If hormones are released in appropriate amount, then it's perfectly fine. In case they are released in lesser amount due to some problem in the brain and the body, or a higher amount, then there's a problem, because then it will develop some or the other kind of disease and it will affect our functioning and behavior. And also hormones are released at certain times of the body. There are some hormones which are released all through the life, particularly right from childhood, like the growth hormone. Obviously if it stops, the child will remain stunted in growth in all kinds of development. There are some other kinds of hormones which are released at particular times of the body. They start their release from that particular time. For example, the gonadotropic hormone starts with puberty, 10 to 14 years of age. Also, endocrine system is basically known as the ductless gland. Ductless means, like glands, they do not have any tube or wires through which the hormones are secreted. It is ductless because they are secreted directly into the bloodstream. Now, the first endocrine system, the first gland that we have to cover today is basically talking about the pituitary gland. The pituitary is the most important gland. That is why it is known as the master gland. Now, pituitary works in conjunction with the hypothalamus. So, hypothalamus gives out the message to the anterior pituitary, and from anterior pituitary, the rest of the particular hormones are released. And there is a concept known as a stimulating hormone. So, every hormone system, every particular hormone has a stimulating hormone associated with it. We'll talk about the stimulating hormone, which talks about basically the aspect that once the message goes on from the hypothalamus to the pituitary, from the pituitary to that particular gland which has to release its hormone, will be done through the stimulating hormone. It will stimulate the hormone to release the hormone in the body. Pituitary as such is a growth hormone. It deals with the growth in the body, and that's the master gland, so obviously it controls all the aspects of the body. Second gland that we have to cover is known as the thyroid gland. Now, thyroid gland is basically in the throat. This gland deals with the energy level, the metabolism level, the growth level. So, in case when we see anybody who is too fat, who puts on a lot of weight, maybe because of the fact that a lot of this thyroxine, the hormone associated with the thyroid gland, and TSH, the thyroid stimulating hormone, are resulting in a problem. So, if there are two kinds of deficits and problems, one is where the person loses a lot of weight, and as a result of that, the person will be overactive, and the other category where the person puts on a lot of weight, and that is a category which will be a lot of lethargy is going to be there. So, problem with weight gain and with weight loss, along with which energy level, mood level, lethargy level, hormonal disturbances, lots of problems, complication result because of thyroid. You might have heard of this term thyroid. People having it result having this problem. That's about the metabolism for thyroid gland. We have the next one, which is the pancreas. Now, a lot of people who are suffering from diabetes, a very severe problem with the body where major organs of the body start deteriorating. It's a very difficult problem because there's no cure, and people have to take injections of insulin. So that means even if the body is generating insulin, it is not really digesting the food or the blood sugar or the glucose level. So that's a very delicate balance. Now, a lot of people think just by eating sugar, they will develop diabetes. It is not so. Nowadays, because of lifestyle problems, it is basically resulting from stress. So, the moment there is stress in the body, immediate flush of hormones is there in the bloodstream, and all the body organs start working actively. And if that situation is chronic, because people today are stressed out all the time, so think about the damage being done to the body. All the major glands, all the major organs are overworking, working more than their capacity. So, ultimately they start deteriorating faster. So, pancreas and diabetes with insulin, because of insulin secretion which is abnormal, either too much or too less. As a result, it can even affect the brain functioning because people can go into coma when the blood sugar is not there in the brain, it is not being digested, In fact, the body will start storing a lot of fat also, and it will release a lot of fat also, which is called as a glycogen. From the liver, it will start overworking. So that is about pancreas, release of insulin resulting in diabetes if not properly secreted. Then we have the system of ovaries. Now this basically we have gonadotropic hormone, in which we have two parts. One is for the females, which comprises in ovaries. When it releases the egg, there are two major hormones secreted here. One is known as the androgens and the other is known as the progesterone. Now estrogen as such consists of primary sexual characteristics, where the development starts off like the monthly cycle, like the hair growth, and secondary sexual characteristics also the major changes in the body for females, the cyclic pattern that they develop where the release of waste from the body starts on in the menses. So that is for the estrogen. Progesterone as such doesn't really have any major function in puberty, but yes, it prepares the uterus lining for the pregnancy or the conception, which develops at a later stage. For males, it's not really a cyclic pattern. Obviously, you've never heard of menses in males, so that's not a cyclic pattern, and the release of hormone is testosterone. So there we talk about the concept of aggression. The level of aggression is much higher, the level of energy is much higher in males. That is because of the testosterone, and that also develops their primary and secondary sexual characteristics, which also comprise of the bodily changes, the growth, the height, the weight, and the physical features of the males. So all that is about the two different hormones that we had to cover. Then we have the last hormone, which we call as the adrenal glands. Now adrenal comprises of two parts again. One is the adrenal medulla, the other is adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex releases ACTH as a stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone. Now the major function of this hormone, although it starts from anterior pituitary to ACTH and then it releases the hormone of corticoids. Now cortisol and corticoids are working for maintaining the sodium potassium balance in the body. Now a lot of people get hospitalized if the balance is not maintained. So that can be very, very threatening to the functioning of the nervous system. A very simple mineral, potassium and sodium, but if there's a deficit, it automatically damages the brain. So we have to be very careful that we are maintaining appropriate level of sodium and potassium in our diet or our intake. Second part of adrenal gland is known as the adrenal medulla. Again, a very important aspect. Like we have already covered the aspect of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system of autonomic nervous system, this is what is controlled by the adrenal medulla. Now these hormones are secreted at the time of an emergency situation, a crisis where sympathetic nervous system activates itself. So adrenaline is released, or epinephrine it is also known as. When you've heard of the term of adrenaline rush, somebody who goes out for a jog, somebody who does exercise or gymming, there's an adrenaline rush, a sudden flush of energy. Now that flush of energy is because of the release of adrenaline or because of the release of this particular hormone. So this hormone ensures, the epinephrine or adrenaline, which is known as, ensures that all the body systems suddenly have a lot of energy and are working very actively to deal with the situation outside. Once the situation is over, the system calms down, energy is conserved, and once the emergency situation is over, it's like a housekeeping which is putting back all the systems into normal functioning by the parasympathetic nervous system, or the release of the opposite of it, noradrenaline or norepinephrine. These are the two hormones for the adrenal medulla. Now it's very important for the hormones to work correctly in appropriate order. Like a lot of times when females have to go for a gynecological check, at that time they ask for certain hormonal check to understand why the imbalance in the body, or any kind of blood test. You actually have to understand where is the hormonal disturbance which is resulting in the change in your behavior, change in your emotions and change in your overall personality. So that is about the endocrine system. Now we have to move on to the genetic part of it, the last concept of biology in the chapter. Now genetic system basically comprises of the chromosomes having a number of genes, and there's a concept of DNA into it. So when we talk about the concept of chromosomes are thread-like structures. These structures are basically comprising of a lot of genetic information, a lot of genetic command. So it is talking about two processes. One is genotype, the other is phenotype. Genotype is this genetic structure that we are talking about. Whatever characteristics are stored as commands in our genes. So genes are like so many in number which are carrying that genetic code, which are carrying the genetic information as to how we are going to develop. So genotype is the genetic characteristic. Somebody might have a disease, but it may not develop. It's there in the genes, but it is recessive. So it does not develop, does not show into the physical characteristic. If it shows in the physical characteristic, whatever features show, suppose the child is having blue colored eyes, none of the parents are having it. It is basically because of the combination of genes which results in the physical characteristic. It could be the intelligence, it could be the color of the skin, it could be the color of the hair, it could be the height. All these which are manifested in the outside characteristic are known as a phenotype. What is there in the genes is known as a genotype. So that's a very important concept if we talk about the dictator of an organism's development. Now, this whole study that we are discussing is known as genetics. The hereditary study, the inheritance study, the way the genes are transmitted. A lot of people go in for genetic counseling before giving birth to a child because a lot of time the diseases are running in the family. So the parents are really worried that is my child also going to have this kind of disease because it has been there in the genes. That is where genetic counseling comes into picture. Now this whole hereditary component in fact is again one part of our behavior and personality. We'll be talking about the other part a little later, which is about the culture. Every chromosome has a number of genes in it. So number of genetic codes which are going to govern the behavior, which are going to ensure what kind of look you have, what kind of behavior you're going to show, what kind of personality you're going to have. Now, if the DNA structure, like you might have heard of the DNA testing, a lot of children want to know who their parents are, or the parents have to testify in court that this is my child or not my child. So that is what is done by DNA testing. So DNA is again a component within the chromosome, within the genes. That DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, which tells us about the genetic basis, is it matching between the child genes and the parents' genes. Now, also at the time of conception, 46 pairs of genes are inherited. The 23rd chromosome inherits 46 pair of genes, 23 from the parent, the father, and 23 from the mother. Now, a lot of people also have this misconception that, when a boy is born, it's something like a celebration in the family. But if the girl is born, it's a problem with the female. There is something wrong in the female. But when we talk about the biological aspect of it, we realize that it is the father's contribution more to the genetic setup which results and determine the gender. So out of the 46 chromosome that is inherited on the 23rd chromosome, the 46 chromosome which are there, 23 are given by the mother and the rest 23 are contributed by the father. Now the mother's contribution is the X chromosome, whereas the father's contribution is the Y or the X. So XX pair for the mother, the female, which is released from the ovary, and the sperm, from the sperm, which is again the 23 aspects. Here we have XY. Now if suppose there's a combination of X and X, the girl will be born. But in case the Y from the father, the Y chromosome from the father, and from the mother the X, that will be the boy. So it is not just because of the female that the gender is determined, but basically because of the father that the gender is determined. We also have a concept, a very interesting one, known as mutation. Now, when you look back into history, when there was bomb blasting done on Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the genetic code, the genetic pattern was changed. The genes were altered because of the environmental pollutants, the radiation. So any kind of bomb blast, any kind of radiation being released can result in a damage into the genes. So a lot of children who were born with a lot of deformities, and that has continued even till this date. It is very difficult to rectify the damage and the change in the structure of the genes once it is done. It can also be done for the positive. The mutation concept basically says the change of gene structure for the positive or for the negative. So winding up today, summarizing, today we tried to understand the endocrine system, that is the hormonal setup that we have, along with which the way our genes are comprised of, their structure and how it works. That's about it for today. Thank you.